What's up, mister?
What's going on?
Hey, man, you made it on the Untold, bro.
Hey, man, I don't make it on nothing.
I
So,
know. You don't do
hey,
interviews.
at all.
You know, the crazy thing is, when you told me you don't do interviews, I was like, let me look this up. I ain't find nothing.
Yeah, it ain't nothing.
No, MTV and all that stuff
Yeah,
don't count.
exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I seen that, I was like, wow, man, yo, he really don't do no interviews, man.
No.
So it's an honor.
I appreciate it.
It's
Yeah.
an honor,
Yeah.
man. So take us to the beginning, man. From
Introduce yourself and
yeah.
tell the world.
All right. I'm mr.Man, part of Philly's Most Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Bubonic, rap group out of Southwest Philadelphia.
Okay.
That's about it.
How did that group start?
Growing up, me and Boo met about, I think, like, we're a year apart. So when he was like 8, maybe 7 or 8, I was 9 or whatever it was.
Okay.
He was actually from up here, from uptown. He moved down Southwest to his grandma's house. His grandma was living on my grandma's block. And I grew up on my grandma's block in 54th and Woodland, Conestoga Street. Just like kids, you just bump into each other, go to the store.
Right.
And we just had a lot of things in common, art-wise and just being creative. And we outgoing, opportunists since we was young. So, walking to the store, share a bag of Doritos, whatever it was, have a conversation. I always love rap. So I was writing rap since then. Like I wrote my first rap when I was 8.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm spitting at him. He used to freestyle, actually.
Bubonic.
Yeah, off the top of the head. I would say a couple of my written rhymes that he'll freestyle. So that's how that transpired. Then we became, friends. And after a while, I'm spending that over his house. He's spending that on my house. Then before you know it, he's staying at my mom's house down there for good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Well,
our families are intertwined, though. So
yeah.
it's a back and forth.
Back in the day, that's pretty much how the households was. Like,
Yeah.
You link up with somebody and y'all become the best of friends, and then it's pretty much my house is your house.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. So before you guys had did the group together, who was you listening to that kind of influenced you?
Big Daddy Kane is my favorite rapper. That's just right off top. Like, him being dark skinned, like it just was a whole lot. I'm like, cause you used to the light skinned dudes, you growing up, you dark, you get a lot of flack when you're young. Your mom tell you the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice and all that. So I'm going to school saying that. But yeah, Big Daddy Kane. But it's a lot of others though. But Big Daddy Kane was one of my main influences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So give us the background how y'all just started pretty much putting our career together. When y'all started taking it serious?
I think honestly speaking, like, man, me and this dude used to lay in a bed, like foot to head to foot, man, just talk about it all night. Like, we gonna do this. I'm talking about around when Criss Cross came out. They ain't better than us. The youngsters came out. It really gave you like that thing, like, oh, we could do this. So what happened, us being outgoing, we used to go around, tell people we rap, go downtown, just having that look, doing our thing. And Charlie Mack was a family friend, and plus we know him from the neighborhood or whatever. So we had the opportunity at that time. I think we might have been 11 and 12 or 10 and 11, something like that. And we ended up becoming the ball boys for the Charlie Mack celebrity basketball game and passing out the flyers for him at the Civic Center. That's way back then. So we had the opportunity to be around the football players, Big Daddy Kane, LL Cool J. Like, we'd literally be in the car with Charlie. This when he had a Porsche. We'd be in the car with Charlie, and he'd LL call his phone, the car phone. He'd pick up the phone, like, how cars drive by doing right now? Charlie, like, it's popping on the radio. We looking like, at 12 years old, you look like, God damn, this nigga talking to LL. So it was just that. So we had a lot of good things in our favor. But,
Cool.
so I think we always took it serious, though.
How did you guys link up with Charlie Mack?
Being from Southwest, I'm from Chester. Like I lived on Chester Avenue for a minute, and also Boo's sister's ex-husband. Shout out Nate. Mark Murray and Will Smith and all of them. They all best friends. That's all that clicked. So it was easy for us to transition into that. He used to be around.
So is that the time that you guys after that, that's around the time when you guys pretty much started developing your sound?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. We was just still rapping.
Okay.
Right. And we at that time we did that for Charlie, like we really start believing in it. And Baby DST was our first DJ. And so again, with the Charlie Mack, Will Smith, Jazzy Jeff end up Boo Mom moved up West Philadelphia on Hazel Street. And Jazzy Jeff lived on Rodman, but my family is from Rodman Street also.
Okay.
So we'd go around there and frequent. We used to actually knock on Jazzy Jeff mom's door. Like, Jeff home? She'd be like, he here, baby. Like, and we'd run, be like, we just went to Jeff house.
Right.
So we end up running into some guy named Mike C. He was a club promoter.
Okay.
And he had a club situation in Atlantic City. And we rapped for him. We went down his basement, was doing a rap thing. He had, turntables and all that. He was like, look, I got this club thing. See if y'all moms, can I meet y'all moms or whatever, your moms and dads, so we can see if y'all can do a show over AC. So we was practicing with Baby DST and Mark Murray and all of them. So that was our first show. We was 11 and 12 at the Wonder Gardens in AC. We opened up for... Dang, I can't even think of their name. Engine
number 9 on the New York. Oh, that was
Black Sheep.
Black Sheep.
Yeah,
shouts to Black Sheep.
Black Sheep. Yeah. So
wow,
that was our first show. So and
was you nervous?
No, like we always been confident. Like it's like I don't think we ever thought about it. I don't think we ever thought that we wasn't going to make anything of it.
Right.
Or wasn't going to make anything of it. Like I just. Like thinking back now, you asking me that question. Anything we ever put our mind to, I think we just do it. Like not to sound cliche, Nike, but it's just it is what it is. Because
right.
It's about meeting the right people and being at the right place at the right time. So
around that time, was the battle rap era like
No, actually, it wasn't no rap era. It wasn't no rap era. Like it wasn't. You had the youngsters and the Roots was bubbling, doing their thing. This was kind of still like coming out of the DJ phase with Cash Money and Miz and Jeff with Will, Charlie doing the celebrity basketball games. We wasn't running to.
Days, right? Task Force, y'all.
Yeah, but they older than us.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dana. Shout out to Task Force, aka Nam. Yeah, they older than us, so we watched. That's my man too, Black. He was shooting a video up Myers.
Okay.
And we ran up there to see it because they was with Charlie.
Right.
So yeah, that was some of our influences too in a way.
Because in that era, it wasn't cool to say that you was a rapper.
I wouldn't really say that. I get when people say that. It wasn't cool for in the streets.
Right.
Because drug dealing was so prominent. And we was around it, but this the thing. The people that we was around that was getting to it loved the fact that we rapped. So I can't really necessarily say that. I don't think it was popular to think in Philadelphia at the time that you can become successful off of rap. I'll say that. But it wasn't nobody for us to challenge at that time. That era came later.
Right, yeah. Right. And did you guys ever have to go through that era?
Yeah, we started the era for real. Like it wasn't no. So how that transitioned to one of our managers at the time, which was really our old head, Stevie G, from Southwest, from Willen Avenue. He used to take us to the studio and all that. and he had a beat tape that he had, and he used to have rental cars, and we used to go to all the nightclubs, Fox Valley. Sometimes we had to sit in the car because we were so young. We like
Right.
13 and 14, right? And when he came out the club, they'd be gambling, all the hustles from all over the city. And he'd be like, man, my young boys rap. And he'd put the tape on and we just spit for an hour. And
Wow.
so we became known in the streets all the way back then, like the early 90s. 90, 91, 92, 93. We was popping. Everybody knew we rap, and we was at every party. Wasn't supposed to be, but
Right.
up New York, DC, Virginia Beach.
Right.
Yeah, so
I heard that you always had like this boss mentality.
but
At a young age, you were an owner.
yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I got into I dibbled and dabbled. So I'll give you it's a two-part fold. So I really wasn't focused per se on music. You know, I was getting to a couple dollars at a young age, like going to school. Like I had my first car in junior high school, Chevy Chevette, right? And I used to have to park it on the next block. And me and Boo used to sometimes like go to school. We had to go in the morning, walk around to the next block so my mom wouldn't see it. So that was like 13 years old. I remember that. But yeah, that led to a few things. It led to me getting to a couple dollars and learning a few things. But also the guys that was around, also they was older than us, quite older than us.
Okay.
So as far as them being entrepreneurs, they was buying real estate and all that back then in the early 90s. That's Steve and another guy named Dana. It's two different Danas, so shout out to Dana and Black Dana. But Steve had a store also at that time in 91, 92, had a candy store. And then what happened, my brother started getting money and doing his thing, and he bought a cheesesteak and hoagie shop, and I went in with that along with my friend Jerry, but my brother ended up getting killed. So at 16, 17, I had my own I was really just my own cheesesteak and hoagie shop in high school.
Wow.
So to maintain that, you know, you got to do other things.
Right.
So, but even to get my food license, my mom had to go downtown with me to get the food license so I can go to Jetro's and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
You was underage getting signed.
Yeah, I couldn't do nothing. Yeah. But yeah, that's how that transpired.
But no, that's cool shit though at that age, man, for real.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So let's get into your first album. Like, how did y'all work that out?
How did we get to that point? Let me see. Because that was a long journey before that. So I just rewind a little bit so it could lead y'all up to it.
Okay.
So we go back to the rap era after we was battling with the tape. Then we end up moving with Steve and Black Dana. Shout out Black Dana, 55th Street. We had a house that was known around the city, 56 in Woodland.
Okay.
And we used to practice there, do whatever, go up New York, rap for Dr. Dre, DMX, whoever, Puff, all of them. And we end up running into a session with Wyclef and Prize. And the Wyclef and Prize situation turned into us writing for the Fugees for Prize album. We did 6 songs on there on the Ghetto Superstars album. And that's when we was in like 10th grade. So that was way before all of that. Go ahead.
So that was before your album.
Yeah.
So
that was years before. That was
I
like 96, 97.
I was one of the ones that was orchestrating that budget for Ghetto Superstars.
Okay.
I worked at Rough
Yeah.
during that time, and I could have known that you was on that record,
Yeah.
writing some stuff. So I'm like, when he told me, I'm like, hey, he was on the Fugees,
the
Fugees
Prize
All Star
joint.
Care.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We was young then too.
Yeah.
So during that time when we was writing them songs, that's how the battling started. Our names start popping. people start coming through the house, hearing about us. You know, other niggas that was getting money, bringing their young boys. He can rap, we tear him up. He can rap. One boy told us, he said, man, I thought I could rap. Y'all made me quit that day. Like, so we kept going, and certain things was transpiring, and certain doors was opening. And that's when we ended up meeting Jay, I think in 97.
Okay.
Yeah, we met Jay in 97.
What was that, like the Reasonable Doubt era?
That was actually Reasonable. I had Reasonable Doubt probably been out 6 or 7 months at that time. He was doing a show on City Line Avenue. Yeah.
Wow. And now, at that time, was you guys Philly's Most Wanted or a different name?
No, we was Philly's Most Wanted.
Okay.
Yeah, we was YBM in the front and in the beginning.
YBM.
Yeah, young black males.
That sounds so sophisticated.
Yeah.
Did Charlie come up with that?
No. You know what's funny? Charlie really never had. He had a pivotal moment in our career, but he never really was too involved in our rap career.
Okay.
He said something about that too later. He like, yo, why ain't let me know y'all rap, man? Because we was around him the whole time, and he really never knew.
Wow.
Like, yeah, because we took a different path. Not, you know, like it was just, that's just the path we took.
Right.
It wasn't a Charlie Mack, Will Smith path. Bro.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So we at Philly's Most Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Before even, trying to get signed, did you guys was you guys on the path of, hey man, I just like the rap? Or it was like, yo, let's get to a deal?
Yeah, we love to rap. Like, love to rap. That was from, you gotta figure now we at, what, I'm 16, 17 years old. Yeah, that's just our day to day. That's what we do. But it was more so, I can't front. My brother, Boo, like, he had 50 million raps at the time. I might had 10. He got 100. You feel me? So he kept me going in a lot of different ways because I took different paths and did different things. I was outside. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? So
Right.
Got locked up at 13, got locked up at 15.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it was, but he kept me focused. So, yeah.
Take us to, and stop me if I'm jumping the gun. Take me to the Pharrell era. How did you guys meet? What was the process? And then, pretty much go into, how you guys started cutting records.
We were signed to Atlantic at this time.
Okay.
Which came about from Mark and Sherman Byers. Sadiq, they owned the Black Friday situation. That's how we got to Jay. Besides Boo, Uncle, being Bayok, they all like best friends, childhood friends or whatever. So that led us to Jay. And then that opened the doors to Kirk Barrows, which was at Bad Boy. And he introduced us to certain people. And then Mark and them got us our situation over at Atlantic Records. They had Eve at the time. A little after that, they ended up having Eve at that time too, and she was with Dr. Dre. So the Pharrell situation came about us being signed to Atlantic. Once we eventually signed, that was years later. This was what, the end of 98, 99 or something like that.
Now, have the Pharrell situation, was that before or after you guys went up and rapped for Jay?
No, that was way after.
That was way after?
Yeah, we rapped for Jay in 97.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we rapped, like I said, we was managed by Mark and Sherm, of course, Stevie G, and Sadiq and them. They had a company or whatever called Black Friday, which y'all would know. Sadiq had a close friend with Roc A Fella and made the call, and we end up going up City Line Avenue to Jay's show at the hotel where Fridays is, and we rapped for him out there. He liked it or whatever, and then we end up having a meeting at Roc A Fella probably like 2 weeks later.
Okay.
And Dame heard us. Dame called Jay on a speakerphone. Then once he called him on a speakerphone, then they offered us the deal for $250.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And because the story that I'm hearing throughout the years is that you guys went up there with Siegel, rap for Jay, and that's how Siegel got on.
Yeah, so that was like a reoccurring situation.
Okay.
So after we rapped for Dame and they offered us the 250, at that time we had 6 deals on the table from Arista, Atlantic, and a couple other people that we had situations that was offering us situations. And what happened, we end up bumping into Jay and Dame and them in Cancun in '98 when they first started, like the Cancun Memorial Day weekend or whatever
Right.
it is. We bumped into them out there, and we kind of formed like a little relationship. So they knew us at this point. Fast forward, we Philly cracking, like the major figures, all of us, we all kind of battle. I wouldn't call us battling because we was all so nice. It really wasn't no winners.
Right.
Like, so we all just got cool with each other at that point. So the house on 56th Street ended up Beanie Beans, Murder Mills, and they had another guy that came through and they battled. I got the phone call. I came down there and we just rapped back and forth. I wouldn't even call it a battle because everybody was killing it. But we was like, Beans is nice. And him and Boo took a liking to each other and exchanged numbers. And then Boo told our manager, like, yo, this dude, Beans, nice as shit, da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, so Beans started coming up. And then one night we was going up to Roc A Fella and we grabbed Beans. Steve called Beans, took him up there. It wasn't for us to rap for Jay.
Okay.
We was already who we was as far as what it was in the industry.
Right.
Yeah. So when we got there, he was my bad, doing he was in a session for Too Short. The song he did with Too Short.
Yeah, he definitely said that.
Yeah. So when we walked in, Jay was still in the booth doing his verse. He came out, I spit a rap, our other partner spit a rap, and then Beans rap. That just was what it was. It wasn't no more to it.
So the story that I heard was Beans wasn't even trying to rap. Like, he wasn't even trying to rap.
Yeah.
And then I guess the guy was like, he was running out of raps. Somebody that I guess was going back and forth like it was a cipher. So
No, it wasn't. No, it was just us three and our manager.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not an extravagant story to it. Like, that was just it. I said a rap, the partner said a rap.
Okay.
Not Boo, we had another partner at that time. He said a rap, and it was for Beans to rap for Jay. We went up there specifically for Beans so Jay can hear Beans. Because when we was going around battling people, Beans started riding with us too. So he would start being outside of nightclubs. It was a couple times he did that with us. And then our managers, like, people was going crazy over Beans and over us. So he just decided to take him with us. And that's just the story. I know it'd be a little embellished, but
yeah, definitely.
I can't do that.
Definitely, because I know throughout the years it was told a different way, and I wasn't there. A lot of other people wasn't there, so I'm hearing it from the horse's mouth. So I want to get that one clear.
Yeah.
So that kind of like opened the door for Siegel to get signed to Roc A Fella.
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened with that situation? Jay took a liking to him, like he took a liking to major figures, all of us. We actually cut a record that P, the H, the I, everybody was on it.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, everybody was on it. And, certain people got cut off once they didn't take the situation. That's why the record ended up not going nowhere. But Beans actually took the deal. He never even tried to shop himself anywhere else. He just took the situation.
Wow.
That's what that was.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after that night, fast forward, that's when you guys started with the whole Pharrell situation later on down the line.
Yeah. That came a little later down the line, yeah.
What year?
Early 99.
Early 99?
Yeah, when y'all was hearing about Beans, we was already recording with Pharrell.
Okay.
So if you hear like on Philly Celebrities, it's a part where we both say at the same time, me and Boo in a rap, it say, y'all gonna be a mad motherfucker in 2000. That's because we cut the records in 99.
99.
It didn't come out to 2001.
Wow.
That album was 2 years old at that time.
Wow, wow. Now, was that around the time that he showed interest to the group, the Clips?
No, him and Miles went to high school together. Yeah, the Clips album came out before. They had an album before us.
The Funeral.
Yeah.
The Funeral. Okay.
Yeah, that was way before us. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Miles, Timberland, Magoo, and Pharrell all went to high school and all that together. And Chad also. Yeah, they like friends. So when we came into the fold, we ain't have anything to do with none of that. The Clips used to be in our sessions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy because I did see I don't know if it's the Please Don't Mind. I think it was Miles that was in the video.
No, that's actually Suckers. They always
Suckers.
Yeah, Pharrell in that video, we brought them to Southwest.
Okay.
Yeah, Pharrell in it, Chad in it, the Clips in it too, both of them. Family, all of them. That's how they actually met Roscoe Pico Chain, and that's where they met Major Figures at our video shoot.
Now, was Pharrell like? Did he dress like he dressed now, or you know?
Yeah, he's actually they from Virginia Beach,
right?
Like, so he's a nerd, like he's a nerd skateboard kid. Like we used to do our sessions in Virginia. He'd be outside in between the sessions, riding his bike, doing tricks. Like that ain't an act. Like,
right.
That's exactly who he is. Like him and Chad was in a marching band together in high school and all that. Yeah, he got a whole musical background.
Wow, man, that's crazy. That's some good information right there. I did not know.
Yeah.
So after a while, touching base on being part of refugee camp. How long was you signed to them? As
that wasn't that we just did that situation. We got a couple bucks and then we kept it pushing.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what led up to the Atlantic signing?
Just us being offered all them deals. Jay and them offered us $250. I can't remember the other labels what they were offering. But Atlantic ended up offering us like 750,000, 800,000 at that time. And it wasn't necessarily the money. We was looking at what we could, like how we can grow over there at that time, because they was giving out subsidiary deals.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it was more so about us building our own thing over there. So that's how that came about.
So signed to Atlantic. Y'all been had the album. It's set for a year or so.
No, I wouldn't say it's set like that. It was just the timing. Labels go by timing.
Right.
And then also Pharrell wasn't at the time we was recording that album, it wasn't slated for him to produce it. Like we produced with Just Blaze, Epitome, and Suave House. And our A&R told us that there's a kid over at the studio want to hear us rap. And we went over there and it ended up being Pharrell. At that time, they had just did Super Thug for Nori.
Gotcha.
They didn't have any rap out.
Right.
So they was just doing R&B, like SWV and a couple other people. So it wasn't even nothing for us to base our situation off of. We wasn't going in there like he the shit or nothing. And we end up rapping for him that night for like an hour. He's like, I gotta do one. And then he called the label back, can I do another one? I'ma fly them to Virginia. We did another one. He was like, yo, is it cool what y'all think? Can I like produce the album? And we just went from there. He started pulling out songs he was doing I did this one for Janet Jackson, sing Take It. What y'all think about this?
Is that the one, that Janet Jackson song that he made for Nori?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
He had a like a bunch of songs that he did for celebrities at that time that people didn't take. I don't know why, but we end up jumping on a lot of them.
Now, with Pharrell, what made him interesting? Because at that time he wasn't like top producer at that time.
Yeah.
What made him interesting to you guys to work with, even to trust the produce your album?
It clicked.
Okay.
Even though we from two different worlds, so to speak, it clicked, and it was a new sound. He understood us.
Right.
Like when we first got around him, the excitement was, yo, da 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 da. Like he started taking us around to certain people, and he was speaking highly of us. But he just he saw the vision, and it was sort of like what he already wanted to do, what he ended up doing in time.
Right.
So it was already something that he wanted to do, and he just ran into us, and we happened to be what he already was thinking about.
Now, at that time, was Pharrell jumping on people's songs like he would jump on Noriega's songs?
No. Like that's him saying SSWWVV. And he wrote Teddy Riley verse for Rump Shaker too.
Wow.
Yeah, so they already was in the game. Like, yeah.
Wow.
So he was seasoned. Don't get that wrong. Like he was seasoned, well seasoned.
Right.
And making bread. Like that's out the question. Like he was already eating. It's just that he wasn't in the rap world. So it was like the Nori situation, and then us made everything popped off.
Now, some would say that when the clips occurred, that they were like kind of I would say they were the new Philly's Most Wanted.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
So I really can't answer that because that's from the outsider's perspective for what everybody else see. But we had formed a bond by the time y'all seen us, and I'll say this for the people that's watching, or he just did something on Gillian Wallow's podcast where he said we were of influence. So I'll take his words. Okay. He said it like out of his mouth, like they were so professional. They was already writing on a top tier level. Like, I can't state it for verbatim, but he actually said it. And that was really my first time hearing it. Because I really don't think about things like that. Fans always, and people that like what you're doing, they always compare you to something when it's good.
Right.
Like, if Kobe was playing at the time, could he beat Jordan?
Right,
like,
right.
That's really not a bad thing, but I don't think Jordan know how to answer that, though.
Right.
You get me?
So from Suckers, which was, to me, at that era, at my age, that was like a street anthem.
Uh-huh.
And then you guys hit us with Please Don't Mind. Am I correct? And then Cross the Border.
Cross the Border.
Cross the Border.
Please Don't Mind. Yeah.
Cross the Border.
Which
so
number 10, right?
Which
top 10, right?
It was top 10 Billboard, yeah.
So what made you guys, was that the lineup, or you guys had to push for a commercial record?
No, actually, we had those records. And we actually put out a little B-side single called What Makes Me. And then we went to Suckers. Excuse me. And Suckers took off. Like, that wasn't, the label really wasn't, not that they didn't believe in us or backing us. It just took off in Philly. So that's how we end up shooting the video. Like, we put the vinyl out 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, we shooting the video on Woodland Avenue. So, and then Pharrell and them came up, and it just started going crazy. But all of those records, except for Please No Mind, was already cut.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, so who's the guy that's singing on Please Don't Mind? I like how he did the hook.
That's Andre Wilson. That's Charlie Wilson's brother's son.
Okay.
Yeah, that's his nephew. That's
right.
why he sound like Charlie Wilson.
Yeah.
That actually was a song for Charlie Wilson. Yeah, but he got Andre Wilson at the time, which was his nephew.
Wow.
And he knocked it out.
Wow, man. I remember going to King High School.
Yeah.
And everybody was singing it. The girls, the guys. That was the thing that everybody was pleased.
Yeah.
So you guys only cut one album.
Yeah.
Pharrell executive produced that whole album. Why?
Not the whole entire album.
Not the whole entire.
Yeah, I don't want to leave Just Blazing them out. Yeah, and
Shout out
Suave
to
House.
Just Blaze.
Yeah,
Just Blaze was on there.
Yeah, Just Blaze, Suave House, and Epitome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
At that time, cutting Suckers, cutting Please Don't Mind, and Cross the Border. How much versus today music videos cost? How much was that back then?
I think Suckers probably was a cool like 15, 20 grand or something like that. Yeah, we shot Cross the Border out in LA.
Okay.
So that was a budget.
Okay.
Because everybody had to come out there. So yeah.
Now
it's way different. You know, technology.
Technology is crazy.
Yeah, you probably shoot that video for $3 grand.
You shoot it on your iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
So fast forward just a little bit. After you guys had laid y'all got 3 singles out. The album is done. Are y'all getting the proper feedback that you was looking for from the public?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Everywhere we went, we was on a Cash Money tour. They was going crazy in arenas. We was doing the time Cross the Border. Please Don't Mind wasn't even out. The label had to catch up to Cross the Border.
Wow.
They put us on a promo run for on a Cash Money tour, so to speak. And it ended up, it was supposed to be like 2 dates, maybe like New York and Philly. We ended up doing the whole Eastern Seaboard. They was shocked, like every time we came out, 30,000 people singing it, going crazy. Girls crying. Like it was, so they had to catch up. That's how we end up recording Please Don't Mind. The label wasn't ready. Like it took off so crazy. And then it ended up getting banned when we shot the video on BET. Go ahead.
Stephen Hill, right?
Yeah.
Why did he do that?
At that time, they had something called they was censoring videos because of 3 6 Mafia sipping on some syrup, and we got caught up in that because they said Cross the Border was a blatant drug smuggling and a blatant drug smuggling song too and video. So we was actually the first group that got our video banned. And then you remember they came up with the late night uncut BET. Yeah. That's where that came from. That derived from sipping on some syrup. So we got caught up in that. Wow. But the good thing was MTV picked it up. So that's why we went crossover with MTV. And we wasn't really in the black like mainstream. We was in the mainstream on the pop side. So we was doing shows with Black Eyed Peas and, doing while people was doing, we did Cheney, Lincoln and all that, but we'll leave those colleges and then you had to do like Penn State and
right,
like colleges like that, like, of other ethnic groups.
Right.
So, yeah.
Now, after the album was released, you guys did mad shows across the world.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys cut another album or another single?
Nah. So with our situation, what most people don't know, because they think we just like disappeared, we got caught up in Little Kim, the label running out of budgets with the shareholders. And I think we had like 600,000 between marketing and another budget. Mike Karen from Atlantic Records ended up taking our budget, him and Craig, and giving it to Little Kim so they can sustain her success. So that's why y'all didn't see our album being marketed and all that. That's business. That's the record business.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I just told you. Yeah.
They can take your budget that they have for you.
Because it's just so you can understand is a record label is ran by shareholders. And the shareholders lend them the money to make profit. So it's just one budget for the whole label. It's not a you get a budget, he get a budget. It's broken down like that, but at the end of the day, they could take money from wherever they want. Like that ain't nothing. We can't do nothing about that.
Next artist,
yeah,
they can do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're signed for, let's say, for $2 million,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to take the shareholders' money and give it to another artist to budget their project.
Yeah.
Do that $2 million, is it still there for you?
No. So what happens a lot of times? So like in our situation, but it happens across the board, and once I say it, you'll be like, oh, okay. So when it comes to that, they'll take that money in that album, even though you got like you starting to pop, and they'll have you go back in the studio and record another album, and the fans is riding off that wave, and you don't realize. Y'all don't even think like, did the album flop? Did it do good?
Right.
No, they open up another budget because they got to make the shareholders money. So they knew they can bet on Little Kim. We was new. So
That. Hey, you artists need to listen to that.
yeah, but imagine us at like 19, 20 years old. We like, what the hell? Like, that was crazy. Like,
now, was you on Bubonic? Was y'all running through the money at that time?
What, man? Yeah.
What's the first thing you bought with your deal?
Yo, I bought a car, and Boo ended up staying at the Lowe's for like a month there, I think.
Hold up. I took my wife there for her birthday, and it was like $500 a night.
Man, no, he had, I think, a suite or something. you hear on one of his lines, he say, "Don't ask me how to spend my money. Tell Hammer." Like, yeah, he meant that. Yeah.
Oh man! So Boo down that low, spinning it up, living his life like it's golden. And you bought a car. What type of car you bought?
I bought like a little Cougar or something, like a Mercury Cougar.
Okay.
Yeah, but my uncle had a check cash place, like my Uncle Vander, Bro and Gerard.
Okay.
That sit there across from McDonald's. He owned that whole block. We actually came with our advance checks.
You talking about in that little plaza with Walgreens?
No, right across from
Walgreens and the McDonald's. Okay, got you. Okay.
So we took our advance check straight in there. I'm talking about every dime, dog. Every dime. Talking about whole 30, 40 in your pocket like this. Having a ball. You hear me?
What?
I'm talking about a ball.
Second spot.
Yeah, but it was my uncle joint, so you get me.
Right. And he bust that check for you.
Yeah.
Did you have to show ID?
No, it's my uncle. We was in the back of there. He like, you better say some of this, like, and do this, that, the third.
Right.
Yeah.
Any regrets?
No, hell no. Most people don't even get to see none of the things that we got to see, and still to this day, like I wouldn't, because when you talk about regrets, you down in God at that point.
Right.
He blessed you. Now, what you not ready for, that's on you. So I wouldn't talk like that because I'm still being blessed to this day, and different. It prepared me for different avenues that I took entrepreneurial wise on and to lead me to be able to maintain my life, because you learn business at that point, like we was talking about budgets.
Right.
So it's more so that.
Do you still stay in contact with Pharrell?
Not Pharrell, but I talk to Pusha from time to time.
Okay.
But yeah, I talk to really everybody. It ain't nobody that I really don't reach out and talk to from time to time that I was cool with in the industry.
Now, why didn't you guys continue to make another album, more music?
Again, that's business. So Boo had a conversation with Craig Cowman. Us being so young, being upset. So that's how he offered us to open up another budget, give us $100,000 a piece, and so forth and so on to start recording. But we was upset. We was young at that time, so the conversation went south, and that's when the deal that's how the deal. But we had a 7-album deal though.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So is that still there? Like, is that 7 out?
No, okay. we was released after that conversation went south. Like, wow. We was released.
Why was you guys upset?
Cause of what you was confused about when I just told. I'm telling you that as a grown man. But somebody telling me they not gonna promote the album. They giving the rest of the budget to Lil Kim. Like I think we 20, 21 years old. Like what? You ready to kill everybody? It's almost like the NWA scene with Ice Cube when he go break the John with the bat and all. Like you ready to kill everybody? Like so you don't know how to process that at that age because you really you know you're looking at stardom, popularity. You making the most money that you've made up until that point. You're not necessarily looking at business. Who knows business in its entirety at that time? To be able to rationalize on an emotional standpoint, to be able to control yourself, to have that conversation and converse with a record label. And at that time, for real, we did all of what y'all seen. Besides marketing, me and Boo did all of that. So we was directing our whole situation, even with the Pharrell situation. Like it wasn't no managers and all that with us at those sessions, and us sitting in the boardroom with Atlantic Records, going over marketing schemes and picking out how we wanted the album to be formatted, and we did all of that at 19, 20, 20, and 21. So for us to at that point to learn budgeting and shareholders and like you like what? Just give us the money. Like what you mean? Jay and them just put out 6 more songs. Like you thinking it just worked like that? You don't know. They got to meet a quota. They looking at it as money. So we'll give you all this money, but we're going to take this money, put it on Lil Kim so we can make the money back to make the shareholders happy. And then y'all can continue on because a new budget are open for the label. Yeah, you learn that.
And at that time, you guys couldn't even comprehend that.
No. Man, first of all, we moved to Atlanta in 2000. We was already living in Atlanta when the album came out. We want to go to Magic City. Like, I want to go back to Miami. What are you talking about? Like, no, you can't comprehend that. Like, you thinking about buying your mom a house and you're not thinking about the future. And then sometimes, too, you could be naive to the point that you think because so many good things are transpiring that more things that come down the pipeline. But, when you, I guess, I don't want to say mess up certain situations, it can deter other people from doing business with you from your lack of knowledge of not knowing the business. So.
Did you walk away from the industry?
No, we end up getting, we put out another album with Universal in 2004, right? Yeah, 2003. Okay. 2003. But that was more so we learned the business at that time.
Okay.
And we were still living in Atlanta, and we cut that album with the producer Shakespeare, mainly, and 2 other producers. But we did that whole album in our loft and at Shakespeare Studios. So an album that would cost somebody $250,000, $300,000 at that time, we might have paid a bean. And if we had a budget of $400,000, we walked away this time with the bread.
Right.
Yeah. So,
do you feel like the industry is more better than it was back then when you guys was doing your thing?
No, I don't think it's different. Like all things. But I think for the younger people and for people that don't know, I just think some people don't know how to separate business from wanting to just do music.
Right.
It's 2 different things. It's 90% business, 10% your talent.
Facts.
Yeah.
So it's based off the fact like artists now are not being developed. They just throwing music out because it's such an easy thing to do now, the drop of a button.
Mm-hmm.
So how was it from back then and now? How would you differentiate that?
I think it's better because if you take for what I said, they don't have to go through that professional or they can learn and make mistakes, and it's not really that costly.
Right.
where before it was like a one-shot deal. Either you get it right or you don't. So you take Jay-Z, for instance. He was around since Big Daddy Kane. And then Jaz-O. So by the time he got the Reasonable Doubt, of course he where he's at today. He really had 4 different chances, which we didn't. We only had that one chance. Like, you get what I'm saying? So I think, so to answer your question, in today's time, it's actually perfect. That's why we sitting here and able to do interviews, because it was only certain platforms then. So you just have to learn how to, again, do business, learn how to monetize, and, you know, have direction, have your plan laid out, and you can actually accomplish more today. People say it ain't no money. It's really actually more money if you know how to do business.
Right.
So
Philly hip hop
mhm.
is a little different, the sound.
Yeah.
The sound from the Peacoat era, like that era where you guys was at,
Mhm.
versus today. It's a little bit more drill trap.
Yeah.
Do you think that sound from Philadelphia changed?
Yeah, you know, music always changes. It evolves. I just think if you called it the Peacoat era, that just that was hip hop. It was street rap, but it was hip hop. Even though ours was like flashy street rap, it was elements of what derived from the streets. We was more so being around to get money, the flashy. We was around people really getting to it. So, you know, naturally, we gravitated towards that sound,
Right.
even though we had different elements to us because we was around that too. But I don't think it necessarily changed, because you still have those. So if you compare it to the mainstream, you have a Future, but you also have a J. Cole. So I don't think none of the sounds are going. It's just what people gravitate towards.
Right.
And, you know, that's what the mainstream media and the record labels, that's what they pushing. It is a new sound. Rap has a lot of different avenues, and that's one that derived from, you know, rap still growing. But
Do you think that today's artists need a record label?
no, you ain't need one. You didn't need one then. Cash Money, No Limit, and all the rest of them proved that. Because you got to remember, Too Short and them was going platinum back then if you do your research. They were selling millions in 86, 87. So I just think, again, we didn't have the information.
Right.
So that's just ignorance on our part. So you don't need a label at all.
Do you think a lot of the artists back then, that was like their, if I got a record deal, I took off, I'm out of here?
I think that was more, yeah, it was that, but it was also an achievement. How you look at it, how people look at it. You get a record, you know what that's like.
Right.
Yeah, that's like you the chosen one, like the golden child.
People start treating you
yeah,
different.
they treat you different. You don't have no money, and he got a record deal. You get what I'm saying?
Yo, cuz, remember me, man? I tap dance.
Exactly. That's like having an EBT card to projects.
Yeah.
In the hood, period. Everybody starving. My mom just gave me the EBT card.
Right.
You the man for at the time. That's equivalent to what a record deal is. I mean, I don't know the significance.
Right.
Because you really just like everybody else.
Right.
Because if you think about it in hindsight, now that I'm older, them giving us $100,000 at 19 years old, that's bread. But think about it. People make that every year.
Yep.
That's really not like yeah, like that ain't.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. But at that age, you think it's something.
Right.
Right. But you also supposed to invest. Again, business. So I just think more so for whoever watching, learn business, not just the music business. All business is really the same. Percentages, who you dealing with, how you able to conduct yourself, you know, taking advantage of opportunities, being prepared for the opportunity.
Right.
Because we all get those opportunities. But some people wait until the opportunity presents itself and then they start preparing. So you got to prepare yourself way before you come up with a concept, search on how to monetize at the same time so you can grow your business. And then you won't have to worry. Now you sitting at the negotiating at the table, way different.
Right.
Instead of saying, I need some money, my light's about to get cut off or my baby mom tripping. You at the table because you maintain and you already know how to get residuals. Your bills are already what they are. Your children are fine, or if you don't have children, you have a lifestyle that you can maintain. So when the business come, somebody offer you $100,000 today, you know, to go buy real estate or
Right.
whatever you wanted to do, you know, another venture. So,
For the average artist,
mhm.
I believe the last thing they're doing is thinking about, I should put my money up, I should invest my money into this and that. Do you feel like for today industry that it should be up to the labels to say, all right, listen, I'm gonna put you with like a life coach, and you know they're gonna show you how, you know, how to properly spend your money versus you blowing it off at Magic City and on women and cars and things like that.
No, because then again, that's like any business. That's how they become profitable. The less you know, the more they can make. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So if everybody had the same level of intelligence, what would intelligence be? Like it's
Right.
so that's just the world. But I think uh is a thing for us to be able, which we should come back and spread the knowledge that is greater than just getting a record deal. But what can you tell a person that's in a dire situation that needs certain things?
Facts.
10 grand sound good to a person that don't have nothing today. So I wouldn't say that either. Like I just say, you know, shoot for it because you might become a Nelly. Like
Go
you might
triple
become
diamond.
Beans. You get it?
Right.
Beans wasn't thinking about it.
Or
Like,
Genuine.
yeah, or we could go on and
Everybody
on.
know, like, Genuine
Yeah.
got his money off real estate.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
So
saying?
yeah, you can. I just say if you do have the comfortability to be able to, you know, do research and you have the wherewithal within yourself to make yourself more knowledgeable about life in general and how to maintain and invest and do other things and have other joint ventures to sustain a certain lifestyle throughout time, I'll say study that first. Like, and that's not necessarily going to school either. Like, you can do that. We actually learn how to do it even in the streets.
Right.
People maintain.
Right.
We just don't think being an entrepreneur on the legal side, we don't think those two things correlate or coincide, which it does. It's just a lot more paperwork, black and white involved. If we learned that, then we'll be off to the races. But they want to keep us ignorant. That's in all facets. Like,
What's a stream, and how do the artists benefit from it?
I don't think the artist should really pay attention to streams. Just like we really didn't have to pay attention to album sales. I think it's more so like it always been your merch and your showmanship as far as you being able to do shows for the remainder of your career.
Now, do they benefit from the stream, or is that like a segue to the live performance, the shows and everything?
The streaming is publishing and it's equivalent to record sales, even though it's broke down a little different.
Okay.
So not to get all the way into it. So your record sales or like the record label record sales and iTunes and Spotify, it goes by your subscriptions.
Right.
You're not paying attention that you really buying everybody album every month by paying $10.99 or whatever it is for whatever your subscription is. And if you have a family plan, that's what that is. So the money is there. It's just I think we're in a transitional phase to where they're trying to figure it out.
So let's touch bases on Atlantic didn't want you guys to leave. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Why is that?
So at that time, we was Beans already signed to Jay. He already cut Reservoir Dogs. Our album is done. We was letting Jay hear our album. He would let us hear, like, invite us to the joints where he having sessions with Timberland.
Okay.
He'd be like, man, Timberland think his beat harder than my raps. Watch this. Like, and he'd be like, what y'all work on? We'd play something. So we had played our entire album to him, and then Cross the Border ended up hitting. But he always wanted us anyway. Like we had Jay did.
Okay. And
Beans came to us one day like, yo, come on, I'm forming this the state property situation. He didn't even really have a name, I don't think. But remember, we had the relationship already anyway.
Right.
So we had a meeting on Delaware Avenue with our record label, and Beans met us down, and he like, I'm doing this. So it ended up, we was already signed to Atlantic.
Okay.
Jay actually went and had a meeting with Atlantic to get us to buy us off of there and to buy Cross the Border, the song. Wow. He wanted to buy the song and get us off of there, like, so we can come over to Roc A Fella. But it kind of backfired for us because Craig Cowman and our A&R, and I'm like, fuck that. If Jay want them, even though they already knew from the beginning, but remember, Jay wasn't that hot at this time. He on fire.
Right.
They like, if he want them, we keeping these motherfuckers. Yeah. Like, they wasn't trying to let us go. So even with the Little Kim situation, that's why they was ready to go into our second album when we had this, because we had a 7-album deal with them.
Why didn't y'all go with Jay?
What, from the beginning?
Yeah.
It wasn't with Jay. You talking about Reasonable Without Jay?
Yeah. Reasonable Doubt Jay was pretty good.
He was a nice rapper, bro. Like, he wasn't. Where was it to go to? You got to think back to what I'm saying. It's no DJ Clue.
Right.
No hard rock,
it was
hard knock life.
Jay-Z at the time.
Yeah. So at a young age, and also us being around the people that we were around, we had prior business knowledge. So with that being said, it really didn't make sense to sign to another rapper, quote unquote, not to downplay who he is, even though, you know, we speaking in hindsight. Like, you'll say that today, but then you wouldn't say that today. And that's no knock to Sparks and them, but that's why you see Oskino and them having those interviews that they having.
Right.
Talking about they really didn't have a situation. So you can also have that situation over there too, because nobody actually came out but Beans and Bleak and Free. And Free by happenstance because he wasn't signed. All of those guys wasn't signed. They telling y'all this today. So we already knew that. And you got to remember, we got offered that in 97, 98 at their first Roc A Fella office, which wasn't really an office.
No, that joint was small, tiny.
Yeah, it was tiny.
St. James place.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't nothing glorious. Like, it wasn't, not that we was looking for him to pull up in a Bentley. It wasn't all of what people talk about.
Right.
So if he's building what he's building and somebody is offering you a situation to build the same thing, you're going to go build the same thing.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Now, were you guys the bridge of him and Pharrell's, meeting each other?
Yeah. So, like I said, we used to go play our music. He would play our music. That's how, like, the Too Short session. Jay had a session. He actually introduced me and Boo to drinking wine, too. He was drinking red wine, playing a game. Him and Boo was playing a video game.
Okay.
So, again, we like 19, 20 years old. But Pharrell had a session with Tyra Banks upstairs. So he was cutting some records for her at the time. She had just came. We went with her to like a Victoria's Secret photo shoot.
Wow.
And she had a session. So we went to the session right after that, all of us. But Jay was downstairs. So we went downstairs, fucking with Jay, talking shit. Come back upstairs with Pharrell. We like, Jay downstairs. He like, Pharrell? He like, man, that nigga ain't better than Big. We like, what you mean he better than Big?
Who said that?
Pharrell said that. So look, you know, we young, we instigating. We get right on the elevator. Ding! Walking the set, man. Pharrell said he'll think you better than Big. He talking about who? Like, what? Like, you know, his smart mouth, like, you're like, man, you know, man, y'all know what it is. Like, I'm way better than everybody. Like, that's, you know what I mean? That ain't his words verbatim, but he talking shit. We go back upstairs, tell Pharrell what he said. We like, matter of fact, come on, come downstairs. He downstairs now. He like, for real? We like, yeah. Because it's really one of his favorite rappers, too. We go downstairs, introduce him. That's how y'all end up getting all the records that y'all heard.
Wow.
Yeah, they had some good chemistry together.
Yeah. That came from our. He was already hearing the records that we cut though. So you got to remember, none of them songs was on the radio. It was only Super Thug, and nobody was really jumping. Everybody liked that song, but I don't think it was. It was after. You get what I'm saying? So
Right.
yeah.
So if you guys would have, follow Siegel over the Roc A Fella, you guys would have been pretty much the startup of State Property.
Yeah, that was I think that was the goal behind it. He was actually trying to, not just us, he was trying to get Gilly and them to the Major Figure situation. Like it was one time, like I said, for the PHI record, we all was in the studio.
Right.
Like all of us, Major Figures, me, Boo, Beans. It wasn't Free and them wasn't around at the time though. Young Chris and them they all rapped and was around. Like Young Chris and Neef was around. Like they was managed by one of Boo cousins, Day Day. They was managed by him, so we used to bump into them. We exchanged raps and all that at one point, but it wasn't no battle or nothing. So we all knew each other. Like everybody knew each other. I don't want to misconstrue that, but yeah, that's just what that was.
Do you think? Did you ever imagine that Jay-Z will be as big as he is today?
No. No. You can't foresee that. Yeah, nobody can foresee that with anybody. Like you can say who you love and you wish they'll achieve certain. No, you don't. You just don't know. People have talent, and then it's people that's talented, like dope. Yeah, he was dope, could rap, but you tell me, because they was, I think, around the time Annie came out, he was about to get dropped. Yeah, he was about to get dropped. So that's not like, so I don't know what you think you saw. Like, cause that song with Can I Get a What with Ja Rule, none of that didn't work.
Soundtrack and all.
It wasn't working. See, I think you confusing him today.
No, I know exactly. I know exactly who he was back then. But I for the people that
don't know.
Don't know.
They look at the end result.
Right.
Yeah, he had the same uphill battle.
Okay.
But again, it go back to business. Jay just was him because of Dame. And people, like, honestly, they try to mimic Jay because of what he achieved later on down the line. But I will tell an artist to follow Dame's page. Jay don't actually have a page. So if you were going to take anything, you would follow Master P and Dame. They the pages y'all need to follow and watch. Dame telling 100% truth. You just can't. They thinking about what he has and had and don't have today. But knowledge and money is two different things. Right. He's one of the most knowledgeable dudes that's in the game to this day, and that was in the game. So you got to think. Jay, they always say, they be smart and say, Jay said, you made Hove, make another Hove. He did. He made Kanye West. It's already stated from Kanye West that Jay didn't want to do that. So Dame did that.
Right. That's fine.
Dame did it for Beans too, though.
State Property, where
all of that. That's all Dame. That's the movies. So I think a lot of times we don't know how to differentiate the business and knowledge from, the flashy shit.
Right.
And if you peep, after Dame, which it was one person that was that knowledgeable around Jay, he had to get a team to equal Dame.
Who's that?
The team at Roc Nation. At one point, that was Dame himself. So you, like the average person, has to be, you got to be totally ignorant, thinking Dame don't know what he's talking about. No, Dame is disliked. That's a big difference from not knowing and thinking about he should have 2 million. He's 8 million in a hole or whatever he is. Yeah, the average viewer had never even made $80,000. What did he make to be 8 million in a hole in taxes? That's what you got to think about. And Kanye West is one of his good friends. He's never going broke. I don't think Kanye West gonna pay the 8 mil, but he ain't gonna be homeless. You get it? Like they're broke and an average person broke is different. Like basketball. Yeah, they spent the 80 million, but they also got retirement coming, which comes soon as they retire from the NBA. So they can get 100 grand a month for the rest of their life. And you talking about they broke. No, bro. They just don't have 80 million no more. They not broke. It's a difference, but it's the economics, man. You know, we lack a lot of knowledge when it comes to economics. But
Right.
I don't want to go on. I'll be rambling after a while. But
So, just at that time, standing in the same room or studio session with Jay-Z, it was like, hey, he's one of my peers. It wasn't like, oh, where we hold him at today.
Nah. I wouldn't say that. We were young. You got to remember, like, I'm 45, bro. So Beans just turned, what, 51? Jay older than Beans. So he was never our peer. We shouldn't have been in them rooms, period, at that time, honestly. Like, I mean, we should have because we were talented. But if you asking me, did I ever look at him like, no. We always knew he was smart and was talented and crazy with it. We were happy to be in them rooms. It was just the fact that we didn't not want to go to Roc A Fella. Jay didn't not want us over there. It was just the situation, him having a meeting with Atlantic and Atlantic not wanting to let us go. That's what transpired. So all of that was out of our hands at that point. He was willing, the meeting was about him buying us off the label for whatever they spent. Plus he wanted to buy across the border. That was the actual meeting.
Which that would have been a crazy situation. It's sort of like
Right.
what Def Jam did with the Locks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
with
the Puff situation.
With the Puff situation.
Exactly. Because they was already around with Rough Riders.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But did you think that staying at Atlantic would have been the best thing for you and the group? You in the group as well? Like, I mean, because y'all always did stuff. Y'all was writing for other people. You already had a successful record.
Yeah.
If Jay would have bought that record, let's just say, how would that have?
I don't know. That's
publishing now.
Yeah. I really don't know. I can't really answer none of that. I just know what transpired. Only thing I can say at that time, because we were so young, I think maybe 21, 22 or something like that this time. In hindsight, looking back at it, if we would have been able to control our emotions and knew that that's how things work under certain circumstances, I think we would have had sustained longevity. We wouldn't even have had needed a Roc A Fella situation. Like, because we never did, because most people to this day, instead of giving me Boo props, they give it to Pharrell because they think we were signed to Pharrell and we wasn't.
Yeah, that was the rumor I was going to get to.
Uh-huh.
Everybody said that you were with Pharrell.
Yeah.
And but that would have been with Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but you're clarifying saying you were straight Atlantic.
Yeah. We was already, and a lot of those records on that album, besides the Pharrell stuff, was already cut. So yeah, people try that with us just all like, especially because we don't do interviews. They always say the bean stuff and this and that. I guess because it's only me and him, and we were so young, which most people think we was beans in them age. They try to, I don't know, I don't know what to call it. Give everybody else the cool points instead of giving it to us. But I mean, we cool with it, you know, because we get to grow. We talented. Like he does art, and I do what I do. So it is what it is. So.
Bubonic.
Mm-hmm.
What Bubonic got going on, man? You guys got some music happening?
No, well, we ain't touch no music, but he do art. Yeah, he do art. But he always did that. That was his passion since he was a kid. Yeah, wow. That's actually him and my brother. That's how they formed the bond, because my brother was an artist. Like my brother has a painting and the art museum right now. He drew a sketch of the city of Philadelphia by hand, just by off sight.
Wow.
Yeah, he was real talented with that and cut hair and all that. So they had that same thing in common. Oh. So Boo been doing that. That's nothing new. They was like,
shouts to Bubonic, man. Yeah. You know, hopefully we can get him on Untold, man.
Yeah.
So just to fast forward,
mm-hmm.
you're still in the industry. You right now you got your own production or an entertainment company?
We do media.
Media.
So the company is Visual Music. I base it around my son. We have a producer, Swish, which he produced for Little Uzi, Lou Tyler, Chief Keef, to name a few. And he actually just went platinum August 9th. He produced 6 on that Pink, what is it, the Pink album or something like that.
Okay.
He did Spin Again and 5 other songs on there, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
He actually managed by one of my partners with Visual Music. Shout out Jabril, Jay.
How did that link become?
That's his brother's son. That's his nephew.
Okay.
So me and Jabril been tight for like the last 25 years, and I wasn't really doing anything musically or whatever. So he been calling me for like the last 2 years, like, yo, you don't want to do nothing with music? I'm like, no, I'm cool. So then he hit me, you sure you don't want to do nothing with music? And then probably I say 4 months ago, he called me. I had linked him up with Sherman Byers, Mark and Sherman Byers. Yeah, I linked them with that, and they was talking. Then he ended up calling me and asking me again. I said, hold on, let me think of something. So my cousin is director K. Davis.
Okay.
That's my little cousin. So I said, you know what? If we tap into the media thing and have Swizz do the production behind it as one of the producers, I just came up with Visual Music. So that's the vision and the music. And then we just spawned from there. And then that sparked the idea of me giving back, like we talking about now, and to teach the young people, because people always ask me, like, how this go? How should I do this? Or me giving them insight on the industry and other things of my other ventures that I got going on. So I start hosting an event called the Visual Music Networking event.
Okay.
Like, you know, Philly, we had Enes, Boone, and them that did the You Draw movie.
Okay.
Come on, you doing a lot, good brother. Go ahead. Go ahead, it's cool. Go ahead. Leave it alone. Keep it right there.
No. We need that light. Hold up.
No, it's on now.
Oh, it's on?
Yeah, it's on. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to that.
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, so we start doing the visual music events. Turned it into a network of events.
Okay.
I rent the studio space out. Like the Philly event was in Larry Gold's. I rent the whole floor out. Free food, free liquor. I let each artist play 2 records, introduce themselves, learn how to network amongst each other, do records with each other. You play your videos. We actually do the live streaming for on what is it? No,
YouTube.
For video gaming.
Oh,
Twitch.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah, they live stream at the same time. So it's a whole 4 or 5 hours in that space. Wow. Where all the collective Philly artists, but we just had it in New York. We actually we about to go back to Atlanta. We setting up the Atlanta event now. So we taking that Atlanta, Miami, Houston, and LA.
You creating a new wave, man.
I guess. I hope. It's more so to give back though, because I think I watch social media, and I think a lot of people not as creatively, because it's everybody in that space is all creators. It's not just music. I don't want people to get that misconstrued either. I do it for all creators, content creators, videography, art, merch, whatever you into that's in a creative space. They all in that room collectively at one time. And I want them to be able to know that in order for y'all to be able to monetize and do what y'all want and make this a livelihood, y'all have to bounce off each other. Right. Because that's all the label does. You sign to the label as an artist, they're called one of their videographers, and then they'll call their producer from Cali somewhere. Where if y'all realize that y'all already in that space, you could sell that same thing that the label do to the world, because we have technology now. But I just think it's more so them learning how to formulate their business and business plan, and how to market themselves and to package it. So like the Tyler Creator just put out that album, and you get merch with it. You get the whole album package. It's more so that they're lacking. So that's why you see a lot of one-off videos. Right. I think they trying to have viral moments, and I think they want people to say, yo, drop the album, which nobody's ever going to say if you keep giving them free videos every 3 months. Right. They like you, but you're not actually giving them nothing to purchase. So people got to learn how to, subscriptions and other things that come along with that.
So how's the outcome been for New York and Atlanta as far as this so far?
For the Philly, we ain't had an Atlanta event yet, but for Philly, man, it sold out in 24 hours. And we get 250 people to 300 people in a room. And then we did it again, New York, which was August 20th, I think. Okay. Something like that. That sold out in a day and a half. And they came all the way from Maryland and all that. Yeah. Like, wow. Because it's like the word is traveling. Right. So, and people understand they really taking something from it. And then I have certain people that's in the room. I don't want to give out no names, but it'd be some nice, executives and people that can help them in different spaces inside the room. So they see those faces also.
Now, for the artists, like, is it like a thing that you got to submit something, you got to audition, or is you just come?
Well, I do it right now. I like it because it's spontaneous. So I let them follow the visual music page, and we drop like semi-commercials. Okay. Like one day you'll just wake up and it'll be like, I'm such and such. I'll be at the visual music event on such and such. And they like, oh, I'll run that play for like 2 weeks. Okay. And it's a disclosed location. So then I put the flyer up, and then one day randomly I say, go ahead, RSVP right now. Boy. And then it be going.
A little mystique, man.
Yeah, it's going. Like, you get what I'm saying? So it gives them something to look forward to, but they also know coming to the event that they're going to leave with something. Right. And a lot of those artists, like I watch, they messing with each other. And, not necessarily, I don't know if they collaborating or what they doing in that space, but they all have knowledge of each other. They reposting their stuff. Right. You see, I see certain posts from other artists and their story. Like, it's just dope because I told them, one thing I told them was, when you talk about the Pico era and Philly never really had a movement, and I don't think people understand that. So you had the Will Smith, like the Hilltop Hustlers, all of that, and the Roots, but we never had a moment.